This is the Debbie Perkins Radio Show. And here's your host, Debbie Perkins.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hollywood Red Carpet Radio Show. I'm Debbie Perkins, and I'm your host, and I have the most beautiful guest this evening. She's an actress. She's a model. She's about everything you can think of. She's fantastic. Her name is Dawna Lee Rising. Or I'm saying it wrong again.
No, it's Rising.
No, I got to say it like 3 times. Rising. So everybody don't forget her last name. Dawna, welcome to the show, hon.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So fun. Talking to you before, I got a little idea about like what an amazing woman you are. And I just wanted to let everybody know that you're an actress. You're a producer too, aren't you?
I'm a producer on certain things, like my own show.
Perfect. We're going to be talking about a little bit of everything. But I want to kind of take you back to childhood. And was you the entertainment in your family? And how did you decide at a point in time growing up that you wanted to be an actress and do all these amazing things that you've been involved with?
Well, I think most people know that my uncle is Tak Fujimoto. He was the director of photography on Silence of the Lambs and Philadelphia and Sixth Sense. I mean, he's like in textbooks. He's a legendary DP. And so I always had my uncle to look up to. But I was focused on being a dietitian when I first started college. But I've taken ballet and jazz my whole life. I've always been a performer, and I've always been a cheerleader and those type of things. So I've always liked performing, but I don't think I really thought about being an actress because my mom wanted me to be a dietitian. So
she did.
Yeah,
well,
yes.
That helps you a lot in being an actress because sometimes you need to look a specific way when playing a particular part, and you know how to lose weight healthfully and gain weight healthfully.
Well, that's something that I picked up later. I mean, like, I just have one meal a day now. Those are things that I picked up later, but in school, I never really got far enough to get into the dietetic studies. I started out, I was a cheerleader at Cypress College, and so I got an AS degree in chemistry. And then I went to Fullerton College, and I got an AA degree in dramatic arts. So I think that's when I first really got focused on acting and discovered that I liked it. And then obsessiveness runs in my family. I mean, we're all very driven. And so I started entering pageants when I was 18. And I started doing a lot of them, like every weekend. And, you know, when you do something over and over, you get really good at it. So, like, I've been in over 100 pageants, and I won or placed in all of them. And
congratulations. Amazing. And you were, what, 18-ish in your teens, right?
Yeah, I started when I was maybe 17. I was a city queen. I was Miss Cyprus, and then I went on to be Miss Hawaiian Gardens, and then I went on to be Miss Los Angeles Chinatown. And they were wonderful, wonderful pageants. I mean, I had to do appearances for the City Queens and for Miss Los Angeles Chinatown. Like, the Chinatown pageant was amazing. Yeah. They sent me to Taiwan. They sent me on a cruise to Mexico. It was just wonderful. And I'm part Chinese. I'm Chinese, Japanese, and Native American. So I was very, very honored to win. Yes, very proud of my Chinese heritage.
And I can understand why. Your mama is beautiful. She is absolutely. wonderful daughter. She's very proud of you. You can see that whenever anybody looks at, your pages. They can see you come from a really good family, and they're very loving people.
My mom is the best. I mean, everybody loves my mom. I wish I could be half the person she is, because I was just writing about her today. She was voted the most beautiful in her high school class. She was the valedictorian of her class, but she's the most humble person in the world. Her family was sent to the Poston War camp during World War II. But she was so young, it didn't affect her. I mean, she said she just played. I think she was like 3 or 4. But her family lost all their land. They had a carnation farm. And so my mother grew up very, very poor. But she's always positive, and she really is the best person who I know. She's the reason why my daughters came out so great.
Isn't that amazing? That's how it works. Like, your mom was so amazing with you, and she's still so supportive of you.
She is.
She's the road less traveled, of course.
Well,
Dawna,
yeah, in my family, you have to have an education. And so I took the long way around. Like, I went to every school in Orange County, I think, being a cheerleader, just messing around. So I finally went up to UC Berkeley, and that's how I got into show business. I won Miss San Francisco Universe, and then I got discovered for Fantasy Island, and I played Miss Hawaii on Fantasy Island. So then I didn't finish at UC Berkeley. I came back, and I started doing shows. I started working in entertainment, and then I went back to Long Beach State. I was always in school, but it just took me a long time to get my bachelor's.
Well, you were having a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
but
I
also,
was. It's like I loved being a cheerleader, and so I loved being in the pageants. So I spent a lot of my time doing things like that. So I guess I was always a performer.
you did learn a lot, because it takes a specific talent of a person to be on a stage in front of an audience, in front of judges, to not only represent your state, your area, whatever, wherever you're coming from, but you're also having to learn how to speak in front of that audience,
Yes.
walking with confidence. Not everybody can do it. They just, and be humble at the same time.
Well, I thank God that being raised poor, I did stay humble, and I'm really glad that my daughters were raised by my mom, because I moved back with my mom, and she was a great example to them. So I have a daughter who is a pharmaceutical rep for Sanofi Aventis, and I have another daughter who is a psychiatrist at UCLA. But I'm most proud of both of them, because they've stayed humble through all of this.
Oh, that's amazing. And you don't have a body of a woman who's had 2 children. You have a body. How do you keep up with, do you do martial arts? Do you do an exercise program?
Well, I've been a dancer my entire life. I've taken ballet my whole life. And then I have exercise equipment all through my house. So I exercise every day. I lift weights, and not a lot of weight, but I lift weights. And 5 years, and then I was a pole dancer for a long time. I got into pole dancing to use it in films. And then 5 years ago, I switched to martial arts because I wanted to be in action films. And I'm so lucky that I met this great martial arts master named Rick St. Clair. He's based in San Francisco. He has his studio there, but we got to be friends. And so he trains me online, and he is the best. He taught me the Joe staff last year. And actually, I'm meeting with him on Friday, and he's going to be giving me a lesson, and we're going to be taking more pictures. And then I'm going to the official USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame Awards with him on Saturday night.
Wow. That's awesome.
I believe that he's getting awarded, and he's nominated me for something there too. So this is going to be a very busy week.
You're going to have so much fun. And you don't even know what you're getting nominated for. So how exciting is that? I mean,
it's really exciting. I'm not a great, Rick is a master. He's fantastic. I am not good. I've taken it for 5 years straight, but I am just not, I'm not a black belt like those guys. I try my hardest, but I don't test, so I know the katas, and I know the things that I'm supposed to be doing. But,
right.
As far as sparring, that to me is still scary. So I would never say that I'm great, but I try very hard. And so
well, everybody going into lockdown, the only way you can do anything is online. And so the combat, the hand-to-hand, with somebody else, you haven't been able to do it because
No. In fact, my class here, I was taking a class here, and I was taking the Tang Soo Do martial arts class. I was taking it twice a week here. And once the pandemic started, my class just shut down. So I haven't been to a class in over a year, but luckily Rick comes down twice a year and trains me. And then I go through things myself, but it's nothing like the people who are going to be at the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. I am not half as good as any of them, but I try real hard. And then also this weekend, I'm shooting for Balz magazine. It's BALZ. Okay, but it's a rock and roll magazine, and my friend Deborah Dutch got me into it. So I'm shooting with Hank on Friday, right after I shoot with Rick St. Clair, and then I'm going to be shooting with Hank again on Saturday before we go to the awards ceremony. So it is going to be a really busy week.
Oh my gosh, but how exciting. It's like you're walking top of the world. It's so amazing. But
well, that's going to be fun, like modeling, you don't get nervous about that because I've just done that my whole life. The martial arts, appearing at, I've done this before too. Last year I gave out the awards at the festival, and Grandmaster Dr. Jim Thomas, is wonderful. And he knows me by now because I've been there a couple of times now. And so I'm not sure if I'm giving out the awards this year. Last year I was supposed to give an acting seminar, but then, it got shut down because of the pandemic. So I'm not doing it this year, but I'm open to doing it again next year, because one thing I do know about is the acting profession or indie films.
Yeah. And it's really incredible. So next weekend is like a big time for you.
It's going to be crazy because I'm going to be driving to we're going to be shooting at this great store on Melrose, and it's called Cosmos. And then I'm shooting at a hotel in West Hollywood, and then I'm shooting with Rick, I think in Playa del Rey, and then the award ceremony is in Fullerton, which is closer to where I live. I live in Huntington Beach. So, yeah, I'm going to be driving all over, but I'm kind of used to that now.
And this is a good time for you too. Because your daughters are grown up. You don't have to worry about them as children. It's your time now. So, and it to me sounds like you are grabbing the bull by the horns and you're just taking it. You're ready to roll forward with your career. And it's amazing that all this is happening so quickly.
I think that God has just really been good to me the last couple of years because, the first part of my career, if you look at my IMDb, there were only 3 networks and then there were huge projects. So I had very small roles in those projects, but you would have heard of all of them. Like I started out as a cage dancer in Blade Runner. And then I was Cleo the Snake Dancer for Magnum PI. And then I left the industry for a while and I went back and I got my MBA at Pepperdine University and I went into the business world and I went into technology and I started developing marketing departments and public relations departments for technology companies. And I did hardware and software. I worked for Epson America. I worked for RAID companies. I worked for ERP software companies. I worked for every type of technology company in the world. And I really had to start over once I got my MBA, but that's where I learned public relations. So that was a huge help when I came back to film. And I reached a point where I have the most wonderful husband in the world. He's a financial advisor. He's a certified financial planner. And I will say that he's been listed as a 5-star wealth manager for the last 10 years, but he's very humble and he gets mad whenever I plug him. but I'm very proud of him. And he told me that I could go back to acting because he knew that I loved it. So I went back about 10 years ago and it was just completely different. When I went back, anybody could make a film because of the digital cameras. Mm-hmm. And so I started, I went from like Blade Runner to projects that you would have never heard of because I just took everything that I was offered when I came back because I wanted to get used to being on a set again. And
I understand that.
Yeah, so I did a lot of projects that maybe weren't the greatest, but I met a lot of wonderful people. And I started working with this wonderful young director named Jared Masters. And he put me in a lot of his films in the early days. And that kind of saved me because his films were all really good. So I was doing a lot of things that I wouldn't brag about today, but I also started out winning awards for Jared's films because they were really good. And I ran into really great people who gave me a chance along the way, like Gregory Hatanaka cast me in Samurai Cop 2, Deadly Vengeance. And I had 3 lines in that film, but they were with Tommy Wiseau. And that was right when The Disaster Artist came out. So Tommy Wiseau, who was infamous before that for The Room, he became like really, really famous because James Franco did The Disaster Artist and won a Golden Globe for it.
Wow.
So that was another
Amazing. That shows you the heights that you could get to if you want.
And I'm very thankful to Gregory Hatanaka for giving me that opportunity. And then I'm grateful to Gregory Blair for casting me in Garden Party Massacre. And it, I think, was my breakthrough film because Gregory is just such a great actor, director, and screenwriter. It's a horror comedy, but my character is really crazy. And so I really got to stretch my range with that. And I've won about 10 awards for it. Some were ensemble awards, but it was just a godsend because I've gotten a lot of other films because of my role in Gregory's film. So I'll always be grateful to these filmmakers who gave me great projects. And
I mean, that sounds like it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was wonderful. And I hope everyone, it's still out there on Amazon Prime. So I hope that everyone who hasn't seen Garden Party Massacre will check it out because it is so funny. And Gregory is great. Everybody is great in it. It's really a great film. It's won, at least 20 awards for Gregory. It's just really a great film.
You said he was he was already doing some pretty fabulous things prior to that, but being involved.
Gregory has been in millions of things. He's had a really long acting career, and he's done 2 films himself. He's done Deadly Revisions and Garden Party Massacre. He actually gave me my first role in a film. I'm a cameo as a nurse in Deadly Revisions, but it was with Bill Oberst Jr., who is one of the best horror actors around.
Yeah. We've had him on the show 3 or 4 times.
Okay,
Bill,
so you know.
You know Bill. And he is such a nice guy.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So working with him must have been amazing because he can really pull a scary guy. Actually, Dawna, take a minute. We're going to take a really quick break, and then we're going to come back. So everybody stay with us. Please don't leave us. We have more to talk.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show, everybody, the Hollywood Red Carpet Radio Show. And I'm Debbie Perkins, and I'm here with the beautiful Dawna Lee Rising. So welcome back, Dawna. So much fun talking with you about all these wonderful experiences that you've been going through with your working career. Now, what about some projects that you've been working on that deserve an honorable mention?
Actually, I worked with Dustin Ferguson on a film called Nemesis 5, and this was a couple of years ago. And it's still one of my favorite scenes. I did it with Mel Novak when Dustin was still in Nebraska. And now Dustin is out here in California, and he's just shot up, and he's doing great films now. But Dustin has been really great to me. I did Nemesis 5 with him. I did Robo Woman, and I did a film called Arachnado 2, Flaming Spiders. And I had a small role in it. I was just running on the beach. But I'm the queen of the Kaiju Film Festival this year. It's the Kaiju International Film Festival. And Arachnado 2 is an official selection of it. So I'm really, I'm crossing my fingers because I'm in the film, and because
I'm excited.
He's a really good friend of mine.
So fun. Oh my gosh. You're going to have the most wonderful time.
Yeah, well, it's the first international. Yeah, the people the founders of the film festival are Duet and um, Rudolph Dutoit, and they're in South Africa. And they just contacted me out of the blue to be the queen of the film festival. And I looked up kaiju because I really didn't know what it was. And it's one of my favorite genres. It's like Godzilla. I used to watch Godzilla movies with my dad, and it's all type of monsters. So actually, I'm in this wonderful film called The Magnificent Warriors of Dimension War One from Dante DeAnthony. We're filming it next year. And Dante has a short film that's also an official selection of the Kaiju Film Festival, and it's called The Derelict. And it's an animated series, but it's fantastic.
That's amazing.
And I'm really excited about being in The Magnificent Warriors of Dimension War One. It's an animated series, but it is spectacular. It's based on his novels, the Pandoran Wars, and it stars Daniel Baldwin, Tom Sizemore, Robert Lasardo, Bai Ling, a bunch of stars. And so I'm so grateful to be included in that film. And then I also just filmed another film called PTSD, A Soldier's Revenge. And that was written by Tom Anderson. And it stars Daniel Baldwin, Tom Sizemore, Robert Lasardo, and Oksana Lada. And I played Oksana Lada's mother. And Oksana Lada was the James Gandolfini's mistress in The Sopranos.
I know who she is then.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it in it. Yes. I know who you're talking about. She was beautiful. She's a very beautiful girl.
Oh, she's beautiful and she's a great actress.
She's got a wit. She's very sassy.
Well, I hadn't watched The Sopranos, so I didn't really know. I mean, I knew she was in it, and I knew it was a big series.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it now because I'm so impressed by her, but I hadn't seen it beforehand.
Oh, she's funny. And when you get to the part where he buys her a pair of boots, you're going to love her accent in that. It's hilarious. I won't tell you anymore, so if anybody hasn't seen it. James Gandolfini, he's no longer with us, but she is a fantastic actress. And you're going to have a lot of fun because the cast sounds out of this world.
Well, we already shot that, but I've heard there's going to be a sequel. I played Tom Anderson's wife in it, and he's the writer. And he's won so many awards, so I'm hoping there is a sequel. But the reason why I have those two films is because of my new agent. She's not really new. I've been with her this year. And her name's Diana Carter. And I just want to give a shout out to Diana because the last 2 years, I've really, really been working on taking my career to the next level. I've been studying. I've been studying for a long time at South Coast Rep with Matthew Arkin, and he's Alan Arkin's son. And then I've been doing Shakespeare with my teacher, Carol Foreman. I've been really working on my craft because I really wanted to move up to where I started, which is Netflix and or the 3 channels. And Diana is the reason why I have these 2 films with stars in them. And so I'm just very, very grateful to her.
She sounds amazing.
She is, and she came to me, because when everyone sees what she's done, she's being swamped by everyone. But she has the people that she wants now. And because she handles her 2 children too. Her children are beautiful. But she has helped my career so much. I just can't say enough for her. I'm very grateful to be with her. And because I've done, I don't really know what's happened. I did PTSD this summer, but I've been getting really great roles since then. And one of them is in a film that you're going to be in, and it's Sean GK's X the End Time. And I'm really excited about that because the trailer is fantastic. And I'm playing Lady Dark in it.
I knew that. I so excited. And you know what? You're going to be perfect. So perfect for it.
Well, that is like my dream part. I loved Game of Thrones. I love those type of series. And X the End Time, I love science fiction. And X the End Time, the trailer is so fantastic. I just can't, the film is going to be great. And it kind of reminds me of the Magnificent Warriors of Dimension War 1, except that the Magnificent Warriors is animated. But they're both like medieval, and they're both like out of this world. They're just so majestic. And
I believe it's like an apocalyptic. So
yeah.
The world comes down with whatever they've decided to end the world with. And then it's a reboot on the world. And the people in it are reestablishing pretty much what it would be like to, and there's a king and then there's queens, and it's almost like they're reestablishing society, so or something like that. But it's in an apocalyptic world, so they still have action things, but like modern day things, but also it's going back in time, like starting over, like the world is just starting over.
Okay, well, you know more about it than I do. I know that my character is evil.
Yeah,
which is great because I love playing evil characters.
Yeah, only reason because I had to. Well, I didn't have to. I interviewed him, and it was wonderful, and he got to talk about the movie, and of course I just seen the trailer, so that
wasn't it fantastic?
Yes, the trailer that they have.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I said yes immediately when he contacted me. And then I love my character too because I'm married to, I think it's Lord Shadow.
Oh gosh, no, you're married to Costas Mandalore.
Well, I didn't know if I could say that, but yeah. To me that's really exciting. And Sean asked me himself, when he goes, well, why haven't you done a romance? So I'm hoping this is going to be a romance, because he thought I only did horror films, which is so far from the truth. I've done just as many comedies as horror films. I think actually my best genre is comedy, but I haven't done a romance so far. So I'm hoping that this will be my romance.
I think it would be good if it was romantic, because it then shows you in a different light. Because
I'll be evil, but I'll be evil along with someone else.
That's funny. That's because you're such a nice lady. So having you become evil is actually really cool.
Well, I've played a lot of evil characters over the years. It's really
Lady in the world. It's like, it's funny how that's working out.
well, I like it because it is different from me.
Yeah.
You know, I hate conflict in real life. Like, I will never fight with anyone. And luckily, my manager, Joe Williamson, you know, has my back because you know what it's like to be in Hollywood. So
Yeah.
he fights people for me. So I don't have to. You know, I mean, he's just always like, you know, if someone tries to stab me in the back, he'll just take care of it. So, you know, so I don't really have to deal with things. I live way out in Orange County, you know, and I mean, I work and then I babysit when I'm not working. So I have a life that I love, that the projects that I'm getting now are just so fantastic. Like, I want to talk about Brooke Grondin's The City of Children series. And I know we're having the Indiegogo for X the End Time in November. We're going to be starting some sort of fundraiser for the City of Children series, but that's going to be another series like Game of Thrones. And I play another evil person in there. There's a guy who's my boss. He's the executioner, and he looks just like who's the guy that played Aquaman? Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Okay, he looks exactly like him. And
Really?
yeah, his name is Alexander Gomez, and he's my boss in it. And so I'm the second executioner. And the only thing I really know about my character is that he's the one who cuts people's heads off, but I have to go and thank all the people who are getting their heads cut off for their sacrifice. You know, so I'm really an evil person.
So interesting. That's fun.
I mean, it's going to be so fantastic. I mean, I'm just so grateful to get these two roles because these are my dream roles. This is what I've always wanted to do. Like, you know, I loved Dany in Game of Thrones, you know, and then I loved her husband, who was Jason Momoa, in there. And I have a feeling that the City of Children is going to be a lot like that. And I'm hoping X the End Time is going to be like that too.
It's going to be really amazing.
Yeah. Next year is going to be really fantastic. But right now, I'm studying for a family-friendly film called The Rose Wagon that I'm going to be filming for 3 weeks in December in Indiana. And the writer and producer is Sandy Slavin. And I'm playing one of the lead roles of the mother. And I'm really excited to be in a family-friendly film. It's a Christian family-friendly film. And my son in it was in a Disney series. And so I'm spending all my time right now learning my lines for that, because that's something that's set in stone and that's coming up.
That's great, though. And it must make you feel really good about doing that type of film, because you're
yes
darker type films.
I did do another one last year called Canaanland. It was a religious film, and it starred Richard Rossi and Rebecca Holden, who is in Knight Rider. And Rebecca Holden won a Best Actress award from the Marina del Rey Film Festival. And she she is gorgeous and she's a great actress, but she has the most beautiful singing voice I've ever heard. She sings the title song in Canaan Land, and I hope, and that's on Amazon Prime too, so I hope that people will check that out. And I believe that Richard is still putting it into film festivals. And then I also went to New Mexico in March, and I shot a film called Distortion at the time. It's now called The Legacy. And it was written by Rod Smith, who was the screenwriter of Lockdown, and which was released by Lionsgate. And he's a fantastic screenwriter. And I played a psychiatrist in that film. And I had 2 million lines in it. I mean, it was a fantastic script, but it was the hardest script I've ever had to memorize because it was like Shakespeare. I couldn't change anything because it was so beautifully written that it just had to be.
It's got to be exactly the way it's written.
Yeah, and I was in every scene. So luckily we had rehearsals the month before, but I spent 3 weeks in New Mexico filming that. And it was one of the hardest shoots I've ever had just because of the sheer amount of lines. But I can't wait to see it because I think I learned so much from doing it. I learned so much about acting from Rod and voice control and so many things. I'm very, very grateful to Rod for giving me the role because it's a really challenging role. I was a psychiatrist and also a Gnostic witch.
Oh my goodness.
So that was this year. And then this summer, I was also the lead in a horror film called The Paradise Motel by Walter Hopbruckner. And the script has already won a bunch of awards from film festivals. And my good friend Mel Novak is in it with me. And it's going to be coming out. We still have to do pickups on it. I have to do pickups, I think, in 2 weeks. But I can't wait to see that film also. I mean, I think that's going to be great. And it's real, my goal is to do lead roles now. So I'm very grateful to Rod and to Walter for giving me those roles.
Well, you worked to get there, and it's your time.
I hope so. It's like I think because I've done those roles, I've gotten roles just recently in Jason DeStefano's Revelation, The Path to the Nexus. And that's another religious film. And it sounds like another one, like X the End Time. So I think that's going to be a really great project. I just got contacted about that one, so I don't really know a lot about it, except that it is going to be a religious film. And it just sounds wonderful, and the cast is wonderful. And then I'm also going to be playing Sam in Chris Gatrost's Live, Laugh, Die. And that's going to be next summer. And I believe that Lynn Lowry's also in it.
Wow. Oh my God. Look at you. When you slow down, which you're probably not going to anytime soon.
No, I don't want to because I like being busy. But last week, the thing is, I've been so fortunate that I have people coming to me now and offering me parts, which is great because I live in Huntington Beach. So if I have to audition for something, it's like it takes up my whole day because because it takes like 3 hours to get to Los Angeles, 3 hours to get back. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that I'm getting the parts that I want and they're being offered to me. But one thing that I do audition for, or one genre that I audition for, are music videos, because I generally always get them. You know, with films, if you audition for them, it's 50-50. You may get it, you may not, and then your whole day's wasted. You know,
Yeah.
if I get a music video audition, I pretty much know I'm going to get it because they know the types that they want. And they're always like crazy characters, you know, like cougars or MILFs or, you know, whatever.
Oh, I know. But you set the bar pretty high, Dawna. You do your own stunts for the most part. I've seen you in action.
Well, I do. I did my own pole dancing when I had to, and then I do my own martial arts stunts. But I haven't had to do anything major. I mean, I work with JJ Stomp, and he says that he's got a role coming up that he'll have to train me for, and so I can't wait for that because JJ is a major star internationally, and he's an amazing black belt. I was in my mentor is Akia Leong, and Akia and I were in a film called In Three Dragon. We just had a small part in it, but if you see the trailer to In Three Dragon, it's fantastic. It's like, you know, X the End Time, and it's the film's going to come out next year, but I know it's going to be amazing, and so I keep harassing JJ, you know, to give me a lead role in one of his films. So we'll see. You know, I hope that happens next year.
And you know what? That's the only way to get in. You gotta put it out there.
Yeah, you have to ask for things, or people won't know that you want them. But
Right.
JJ knows because I've been asking him for a year.
What are some things you'd like to be involved in the next few years? Because we've got a couple left, and then I want to get your contact.
Well, what I want to do is do leads in films with stars. Do leads, like I am one of the leads in the Magnificent Warriors of Dimension War 1, but there are so many, you know, A-listers in that I'm just grateful to Dante for giving me that role. But like, I'd like to do more leads with a cast like that. And I want to move up and possibly get into a streaming, you know, like Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or one of those. And I trust that Diana will get me into one of those because that's what she's working on. I mean, if I didn't have Diana as my agent, I wouldn't be half as secure as I am now. I thank God that she came into my life.
Where can people get in touch with you? Should they go through your agent?
They can, or they can contact me directly. I have a website. It's www.dawnaleerising.me. I'm on Facebook under Dawna Lee Rising, and that's where a lot of people contact me, is through private message there. I'm on Instagram under Dawna Lee Rising. I'm obviously on IMDb. I'm in LinkedIn, and that has my business career too. And I'm in Actors Access and LA Casting, and I'm on Backstage, and Backstage is where I get most of my music videos. I just did 2 last week, which is why I'm exhausted this week. I did one for a band called Spoon, and then I did this really fun one for a guy named Ty Verdes. And it's just so funny. I can't wait to see it.
Well, We've run out of time, but Dawna, would you come
Really?
back?
It's been an hour?
Oh, it goes that fast. Would you
Wow.
again sometime and share more of your experiences with us?
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been great talking to you, and I can't wait to work with you on XCN time.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait either. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dawna. This has been wonderful. It's been a great hour with you, and it's been a great hour with our audience and everybody. So thank you so much for listening.
Well, thank you. And I will share the podcast everywhere.
Thank you. And everybody, you have a great night. We'll see you next week.